What if you could turn any book's wisdom into viral thread posts while you sleep? I built an AI automation that does exactly that, and today I'm going to show you how it all works. In just a minute, I'll show you how this automation took a single quote from a book that I recently read and turned it into a thread post. But first, let me quickly show you how all the components work and how this all became possible. I'll show you right now. Let's go. Okay, so the first component that I use is Grok, or xAI, owned by Elon Musk and his company. This is a competitive product to ChatGPT and Claude AI, and it has a similar functionality where it allows you to communicate with an AI, ask it questions, and allow it to produce different outcomes for you, things that you need assistance with. In this particular case, we are going to use Grok to formulate the thread for us. Once Grok formulates the thread for us, we are going to put it through StealthGPT. StealthGPT is a platform that checks the wording of an output from a large language model, and it checks it to see whether or not it can be detectable as something that was produced by an AI, or if the language is more of in a human form. So we are going to run the thread that was produced by xAI into StealthGPT just to start humanizing the content, because with all these AIs out there right now, and a lot of people are using AI to produce content. I believe in the background, I don't know this for sure, but I believe in the background, a lot of social media platforms are running your post through something like this to check whether or not that post was produced by an AI. And then I think that it kind of affects your visibility when it comes to these different social media platforms. So going forward, I'm going to start putting a lot of my content through like a Stealth GPT so that it can give me back some results to know whether or not that post seems human-like, or if it's coming across as AI content. So we'll be going through that today. Another component that we will be using today is Buffer. Buffer is a platform that allows you to connect different social media platforms and have an API that allows you to automate a lot of the posting on these different platforms. We are going to tie thread into Buffer. Tie my thread account into Buffer, and we could go through Buffer to post directly to Threads. Threads have their own API that allows you to connect directly to it, but I found that it's just a little bit easier to use Buffer instead of going through all the documentation that Threads put together. And to go through it, it's just easier to use Buffer because they've already done the heavy lifting. So I'm just going to use their platform to get this automation to work. So I think overpricing with these models. So let's just go back. So for Buffer, their pricing is actually pretty straightforward. It's free. So you can use it, and it allows you to connect up to 3 different channels. Once you bump it up to $5 a month, and that's the yearly, and I believe $6 for if you want to do monthly. It allows you to have unlimited channels, so that way you can post and you can schedule posts. There's a lot of platform that does this, but I'm playing around with Buffer. As far as Stealth GPT, I didn't go over the pricing with this. So the pricing plans, if we go here, actually we need to look at their API pricing plan. So the API pricing plan for 200,000 tokens is $10, and once you go through all the tokens, then you can replenish that amount. But if you don't want to waste time, you could just buy 2 million tokens for $100, and then you'll probably last you for a very, very long time, especially if you're going to use this a lot. And if you're going to put products like, if you create a lot of ebooks and a lot of books using like OpenAI or Claude or any one of these AI platforms, you could probably want to put it through like a Stealth GPT to make sure that that book doesn't come off as AI, AI language. So putting it through this platform, it actually can also rewrite it for you as well. So if the text that is AI, it will rewrite it for you, and I'll show you during our automation. And xAI, with xAI, the pricing right now, actually for the rest of they gave a $25 credit that they'll throw on your account for the remaining of 2024. And allows you to play with the platform, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be similar to any of the other platforms where you have to just put money in and you replenish it as you use. So it's pay-per usage. Okay. All right. So the next piece we're going to jump into is our automation. This platform is called make.com. This is what puts everything together. So it allows us to put all the pieces together through xAI, through Stealth GPT and Buffer. It allows you to put all the pieces together. And of course, we are going to use OpenAI as well. And let's go to the automation. Let's see how everything was built. So the first piece that I put in here is OpenAI. OpenAI is going to have a repository of all of the books that I've read. I put the last 3 books that I read into the repository, and what it's going to do is going to go through the book and find a viral quote, and then it's going to send that quote over to xAI. xAI is going to analyze the quote, and then it's going to produce a thread based off of Threads requirements. Then we're going to throw it to Humanize. or we're going to humanize the content using StealthGPT, and StealthGPT is going to then look at that post and that content to give us a score as to whether or not that content seems to be human written or AI written, and based off of that, then we'll push it over to Buffer to then post to Threads. So this is a simple automation, but it is doing a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of calculations and things like that in order to produce a good thread for us. Okay, so this entire automation is actually going to be in my community, my Skool community, where you can just click on the automations, this automations tab in the classroom. You can scroll over to the automation. You could, of course, watch the tutorial video and to follow along. What you could do, the most important thing here is you could download this blueprint. Once you download the blueprint, you could just jump back over to Make, hit this More button, hit Import. And once you hit Import, you get this entire automation. But you don't have to worry about that. You can just, I'm going to show you how to build it step by step. And I'm going to show you how to build it right now. Everything that I just discussed is going to be in the show notes. I'm going to put links to everything in the show notes. So you just scroll down and everything that I talk about today will be listed here. All right. So the first thing we need to do whenever we build an automation is we need to set a trigger. In this particular case, the trigger is going to be OpenAI. Okay. So we are going to start OpenAI, and in OpenAI, what we want to do is we want to message an assistant. All right. So within OpenAI, and I'll just jump into OpenAI right now. Within OpenAI, if you go to platform.openai.com, what you can do is click on assistants. And once you click on assistants, you can build what's called like robots, if you will. And what I'm doing in this case is I'm building a bookworm robot. Okay. And this is what the instructions I gave. I said, I am uploading PDF versions of books into a vector store. A vector store is just what they call their storage for analysis. Each book contains the title, the author, the text from its pages, and please analyze the following: the title, the author, the content, the structure, the key highlights, and ensure that the extracted data is stored in an organized format that is easy to retrieve for further queries. Okay. All right, cool. And then what I did is I enabled file search, and in the file search, if you hit this plus button, this is where it allows you to put anything you want. So you can put code, you can put like anything you can build with these AI bots. But for us in this case, I put some books that I've recently read. So these are 3 books that I've recently read this year. So Good They Can't Be Ignored, Be Your Future Self, and Atomic Habits, which is a must read for everybody. You got to read Atomic Habits. And as I read books, and I'm going to just upload them here, so that way when this automation runs, it'll automatically pull from one of these books, and it'll post it accordingly. Okay, cool. So now let's jump back over to Make. And in Make, what we're going to do is we're going to choose that assistant. I call it the bookworm. And and once we have the bookworm, we are going to, the role is going to be user, and the message, I'm just going to copy and paste to make it easier. Up here, the message is here. Okay, you're tasked with retrieving a viral quote from a book in your vector store. The output requirements is going to be in JSON. So I wanted to output the title, the author, and the viral quote that it pulled. Okay. All right, and I did it in this format because it'll be easier to pull this in the future. So if I want to just extract the title, if I want to extract the author, and I want to extract the quote, I'm just kind of formatting in a JSON format, so that way it pulls it correctly. And I'll put these requirements here because a lot of times OpenAI and Claude and different platforms like to tag things on top of the JSON format, and I just want this exact format. Okay, so let's say okay, and let's rename this. So we're going to rename it to bookworm. Cool. All right, go here, bookworm. Okay, cool. And what we're gonna do is hit save. Awesome. All right, so the next piece we need to do is we need to then structure it. I'm gonna parse the JSON. Okay, so Make has built-in tools that you can use to parse the JSON. So when I say parse the JSON, is I'm basically taking OpenAI is gonna put it as a text format. It's gonna output it just as a text file. But what I want to do is I want to parse it and make it an actual structured data. So we're gonna hit JSON, and we're gonna say parse JSON, and then we are going to pull the results from the bookworm. And the good thing is that whenever you pull anything from any other module and you hover over it, it'll pulsate that module. So it gives you a visual as to where it's getting that information from. Okay, we hit okay. And the next thing we need to do is we need to use xAI, right? So with xAI, they open up their API recently, but within Make doesn't have a module built in. So xAI didn't build a module in Make yet. I'm sure that that'll happen in the future, like similar to what we see for OpenAI, Claude, and other platforms. It's only been about, from the time of this recording, it's only been about a month or so since xAI has launched and opened up their API. So I'm sure within the next few months, they gotta start unplugging into a lot of these platforms to make it easy, make it user friendly. But we can still access the information. So what we're going to do is we want to do an HTTP request. And what we want to do is we want to make a request. So let's see, request, make a request. And this is just a basic request. Sorry, let's make a request right there at the top. Cool. So here's the URL that we need. And I'm going to actually jump over to their documentation just so you can take a quick look before we jump in. Let's go here. Let me jump in. Where is it? Right here. Cool. So the xAI API documentation, this is how it's structured. So you really just have to make it structured, and it's also in JSON format. You really just have to structure your data like this, where you have a message, you have a role, it's optional that you can use system roles and user roles interchangeably, but you just have to use the structure to have a system role. A system role is basically a set of instructions that you want to give the AI, and then the user is the prompt. So us as the user is given the prompt. So this particular case, it says, "You're a Grok, a chatbot inspired by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy." And the user said, "What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything?" So it gave some kind of like out of space type language, just for an example. But this is the structure that we need. And the models. And another thing, we have to be mindful of the models. So if we go over to the models, let me see if I can find it for you. The list of models here. Where is it? Okay, models. Oh, it's probably an overview. Here it is. So some of the featured models is Grok 2.12, and then it's Grok 2 Vision 12. So 2.12 is what we'll be using today because we only need text. And the Grok 2 Vision model allows you to input or allow the AI to analyze pictures, but we're not doing that today. We're just really using the Grok 2.12 version. Okay. All right. In order to access the xAI platform, you need to go to console.x.ai, and again I'll put the link in the show notes. Then what you want to do is select create. What you log in, and what you want to do is create API key, and then it'll take you through like a wizard on how to create it. Once everything is created, then you'll have an API key here listed. It'll display the API key once. You have to copy that somewhere safe, because once you close that screen, you're not going to see the API anymore. Okay, so that you want to make sure you copy that. In worst case, you could always create a new API key, but just be mindful of that. Okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so now let's jump back over to make. All right, and what I'm going to do here is we want to put the method is post, and the header is going to be authorization header. Let's just hit that. Turn this over here. Authorization, and the value is going to be bearer. And the value is going to be, I have the API key value here just for this video, but in order to enter the inputs, you click on the scenario inputs, and then you can add the input here. But you don't have to do that. You can just enter your key here, but just for the video, just to protect my API key, I created a variable here as well. As far as content, you want to see content type. The content type is going to be application. All right, cool. So these are the headers that we need. All right. So it's authorization bearer, and it's your API key that you got from xAI. The content is going to be the application and JSON. Okay, cool. So next, what we need is the body type is going to be raw. Shout out to DMX. Then we're going to do a custom type, and the value is going to be data, okay? And the request content. So let me just copy this. I'm just going to forewarn you, it's going to be a little bit hard to read, but we are going to get through this. Okay. So this is, again, the format. This is the format that I pulled from the last screen that I showed you. And this is what I put here. So as far as system, I said you're using the Threads writing framework format. Sorry. Generate a concise and engaging Threads post for any given topic. The post must include the following structure component and be less than 450 characters. 1, a hook, 2, a rehook, 3, a lead, 4, a problem, 5, a solution, 6, power ending, 7, a CTA or CTE, that's a call to action or a call to engage, and 8, omit the explicit labels for each framework, like hook, rehook, keep the tone natural with two new lines, character after each framework, framework element for readability and flow, limit to 450 characters, prioritize brevity while ensuring clarity and impact. So this is jam-packed. So I did 450 characters, because the character limit for Threads for a post is 500. So I did 450 to give it a little buffer just in case it goes over. And not just in case it goes over, it typically goes over. So 450 is kind of a sweet spot to put that here. Okay. I also wanted the language to be in first person, because for Threads, is usually coming from me. So, but if you have a company account that you want to post this to, you may want to change that language. So that way it's more of a, we, us, them, or, you want to sound like as a company, you could put that there as well. Excuse me. Now, as far as the user role, all right, we have to make some changes here. So I came across this amazing quote in the book on the book title by the author, using the Threads writing framework and a laid back personal tone, write concise posts under 450 characters, highlighting the quote, why it stood out to me, and inspiring others to reflect on it, keeping it engaging with a hook, rehook, problem, solution, and call to action. Okay, so let's just change these variables here. So the variable that we need first is the quote. So if we go back here, let's see. So it's not here. Actually, let's see. Can I? Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to copy this. This is a cheat, and I have to run the module. I'm going to copy this. Let's copy this, and let's go to our notes. All right, and let's just cheat here. So a lot of times you have to run the module a few times so you can pull variables. But in this particular case, I'm going to do a little cheat. Okay, and this is a good hack for you as well. So 13, each module has a number associated with it. In the module that I showed you in the beginning, 13 was where was the number of the trigger, and in this case, then the number for a trigger is 16. That's the bookmark. That's where it's going to pull the quote from. So instead of writing a module and wasting time, I'm just going to change it to 16. All right. So we're going to copy here, and we're going to change this to 16. And the title, we do the same for the title, and we do the same for the author. So let's just do that. Title 16. All right, we'll delete this. And there's an author next. All right, sorry. Come on, baby. All right, forget it. This one will copy me. 13, the author. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to run each scenario so you can pull the correct. Oops, that did the same thing twice. Come on, Aaron. 16, author. Copy. All right, cool. So delete that, put that there. Awesome. Cool. All right, so we need author down here as well. All right. So the model we chose again was the Grok 2 1212, and then this is some system defaults. I would say in the book. Oh, this doesn't look right. I mean, I've copied and pasted it twice. So let's see. Let's just delete that. I think I messed up here. Cool. This is user rack temperature 0. Perfect. All right. Cool. So I did a copy and paste twice, but that's cool. So this is what we need. So we have. All right. So we have the system. System. User. So I kind of messed up here. So let's just get this correct. Let's get this right. All right. So user. Let's just delete that. I may have copied and pasted one too many times. Okay. User. System. All right. That looks good. Well, we'll find out shortly if it's not good. But I think we look good here. Yeah, we're good. All right. It okay? Cool. And let's just rename this. Let's rename this to xAI Threads post. All right, here, and let's give it an emoji. Cool. Okay, cool. I think this is a good opportunity to run this since I found some little bit of mistakes here. So let's just run it once. Hit OK, and then run. That little pop-up screen you showed was a piece of the API key, but just hit OK, let it run. All right. So right now, OpenAI is reading through all of the books, pulling a quote, and I'm parsing it, and then creating a Threads post. Okay, cool. So let's look at the first one. So the book is "So Good They Can't Ignore You" is the book. The author is Cal Newport, and the quote is "Be so good they can't ignore you." That's actually part of the title of the book. No problem. That wasn't actually in the book. And then it parsed it. Right. So it parsed it. So before it was a string, and then it parsed it into different variables. And cool. That's what we want. And then it pulled all of that here. So if we look at the output, and then we look at the data, let's see, headers, data didn't do it exactly how I wanted it. It didn't pull what I needed. So let's do it here. Let's get this correct. All right. our post. Let's make sure I didn't forget anything here. The headers, good. Here, let's just see one more time. Looked like, I mean, it ran successfully, but it didn't pull the data like I liked it. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. So let's do this. See, that's the problem when you copy and paste. We'll get it right. All right, let's just try one more time. I want to make sure that is. Oh, I know what the problem is. I didn't parse the response. This is what we need to do. We need to parse the response. Okay, cool. Let's just run it one more time so I can show you. All right, I didn't parse the response. That was the problem. So let's just try one more time. That should be quick. All right, good. So we are going to go back into our the repository where all the books are located. And then it's going to pull a viral quote from one of the books, and then it's going to parse it. Here, which book did it pull? Atomic Habits by James Clear. We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. Okay. So now xAI is analyzing the quote and everything, and now it's going to formulate it correctly this time for us because I didn't parse it last time. So cool. Cool. So now let's take a look at it now. Let's see. Go here and we go to data. There we go. Now we want to go to usage. And if we go, sorry, not usage, choices, hit the one, hit the message, content. Okay, let's go. This is the thread. It says, stumbled upon a gem of a quote that hit me right in the feelings. It's one of those lines that sticks with you. It sticks with you, you know? In the book Alchemist by Pablo, it says, and then we wanted to do something and we felt so that's weird. It pulled the wrong book. So let's see. Did we do everything right? Let's see. The quote. Let's actually look at the input. Let's see. The query string, request content, user in the book. So it didn't pull the variables right. That's interesting. All right, so let's just do it. Let's do it right this time. I see what I did wrong. See, I used 16 when I was supposed to use 17. See, whenever life, you can't do any shortcuts in life, man. The amazing quote by quote. All right, then we have to use 17, not 16. All right. The book is the title, and the author is James. There we go. So what I did is I used the unparsed data and pull that information in. So it just kind of winged it and just pulled a book out of its memory instead of using what I actually wanted it to use. All right. So we'll hit save. Make sure we get it right this time. All right, cool. And now what we're gonna do next is we want to humanize it. So let's go to StealthAI. Right here, StealthGPT, and we're gonna humanize the content. So we can humanize content, and then the text that we want to humanize is what we pulled from threads. So if we go to usage, I'm sorry, I keep saying usage, choices, message, then we want to go to content. Okay, cool. And we can leave everything else as default. We really don't want to use the text or the output that it produces. We really just want to get a score, because what's going to happen is Stealth is going to give us a score. And actually, let's look at the documentation here. StealthGPT. So with StealthGPT, according to the documentation, how likely to be detected is what's going to be extracted. And it says how likely to be detected is a score between 1 and 100, where 1 represents AI detected content and 100 indicates that the content is undetectable by any AI generated model. So it's human generated. That's what it feels like. So if the score is below 75, the recommendation is that you kind of rerun it to get it better. So I'm going to build it into our automation. Okay. So what I'm going to build into the automation is that it's not going to post the thread if the score come back as under 75. So we'll actually do that right now. So let's just rename this to humanize. And then let's go to quick emoji. That's cool. All right. And the next piece, what we're going to do next is we want to do buffer, right? So buffer, we want to create an update, and the text, not all, the text we want to use is threads, and the text is going to be, again, we are going to use choice, message, content, right? And we're going to post it immediately. And what's cool about this is that we can actually schedule a post here, or we can throw it in a queue. We can do a lot of things here, but in this case, we are going to just post it right away. Okay. And let's just rename this post to threads. Let's give it a emoji here, a thread emoji. Hit okay. And what I want to do here is I want to put a filter here, so that way it doesn't pass this point after we detect whether or not the content is human. And it's not going to go past this point unless it's above 75. So what we're going to do is set up a filter. Is it human? And the condition is how likely to be detected is a number. We're going to go down to number, numerical operation that's greater than 75. All right. So if the number is greater than 75, this will check off, and then it will allow it to continue. Hit OK. Cool. All right. So let's jump over to Threads. Let's just Threads. All right. Threads.com. Cool. So we'll jump over to Threads, and we'll come back here in a second. Let's clear everything up. Let's hit save, and let's run this. So this is the entire automation, right? So let's run it, and this time it should run good. All right. There we go. Let's run it. So again, OpenAI is going through that assistant, finding one of the books that I put here, the ebooks, and it's going to find a viral quote from the book, and let's say what book it chose this time. So that they can't ignore you. Cal Newport, become in the words of my favorite Steve Martin quote. So good they can't ignore you. Okay, that's another one. All right, so this time, let's see what OpenAI posted. All right, xAI. Let's see what it posted this time. Let's go into the data. Let's go into use choices. I don't know why I keep gravitating towards usage. A message and say, ever heard the quote, be so good they can't ignore you? It's from Steve Martin's. It's from Steve Martin's, but Cal Newport made it click for me. I used to chase passion, but this quote shifted my focus to mastery. The problem, we often prioritize passion over skill. The solution, dedicate yourself to becoming exceptional at what you do. Mastery is the real key to fulfillment. With one skill, you'll commit to mastering. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Sorry. I have glasses on, but I cannot see. All right. So the score here, the humanized score came back as 93. So that content came back super high as a human. So StealthGPT categorized the content that was produced by xAI to be very human-like. So then it gave it a category of 93, which is very good. Okay. Cool. And it also gave another. It also like regenerated the content as well. So you have the option to use what they put together for you. But in my case, I'm just going to use what xAI, what I got from xAI instead. And then we posted the threads. All right. So this one came back successfully. Let's go to Threads and let's check it out. So let's go to my posts. Let's just refresh the screen here. Let's hit here. And here's the quote right here. Good. Ever heard a quote? Be so good they can't ignore you. It's from, and then this is what we just read. So this is it right here. All right. So I hope you found value in this video. Be sure to hit like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit the bell, all the YouTubey stuff. Make sure you hit that. Again, you can jump over to my Skool community where you'll have access to this entire blueprint along with all the other automation that I put together. And of course I have some exclusive content on there as well. I hope you find value. God bless. Peace.